And now on the Business Radio X Network, another exciting episode with Jamie Overturf in Connecting Tucson with Jamie.
Hello, and welcome to Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf and our first podcast of 2020. Woohoo!
Exciting.
I know, it's very exciting. Well, another year's come and gone, but our mission is staying the same. We want to continue to support and recognize our local businesses and help make long-lasting connections within our community and organizations. Today, we are broadcasting from the corporate offices of the Stewart Title Studios on Broadway right here in Tucson, Arizona. This podcast is actually going to be a little bit different than those in the past. We're going to focus on some tips and tricks for getting you the best health in 2020. Maybe in some shape, maybe it's eating differently, maybe it's just thinking a little bit differently or tweaking some last minute things, which is why I brought a very special returning guest to help us with these specialized projects, Mr. John Wilfert. Hello.
Well, hello, Jamie. Thank you. And I'm excited about 2020. It's going to be an awesome year.
I know, right? I can't believe it's already 2020. We're in there. Anyways,
amazing.
Well, thank you for coming back on. So for my listeners out there, you may have remembered John Wilfert is the owner of several local businesses here in Tucson, such as JW Company, Smoothie Factory, BUNZnGUNZ, my favorite one to say, SF Nation, and JW Fitness and Consulting. So he is a type A personality that always has to be working, as we say in our industry. He attended Washington State University, where he earned his Bachelor's of Science in Physical Education and his Master's of Education in Athletic and Sport Administration, which is why I feel he is a perfect guest to have on the show for our New Year, New You show. So, John, obviously you seem to have had your hand in the fitness and athletic world for pretty much all of your career. It's what you're focused on. It's safe to say it's your passion. But what made you choose health, fitness, and nutritional industries as a career in general?
Well, actually, I was very blessed. I was fortunate enough to be involved in sports when I was a youth. And through some of my sports activities, I got to travel and I enjoyed that. And I was like, this is a lot of fun. I really have a passion for this. And I just kind of found a coach that when I was about ninth grade, who took me to a couple coaching seminars, and I got to actually hear Morgan Wooten, who was the head basketball coach at DeMatha High School in Washington, D.C., and John Wooten, who was obviously a very successful coach at UCLA. And ever since then, I was just kind of hooked. And he was kind of a mentor to me, and he just kind of took me in under his wings and took me to a bunch of coaching clinics over the next few years. And before I could even graduate from high school, I had probably heard some of the top 30, 40 coaches in the country, and I just decided that this is what my passion was, and I knew that I wanted to be involved somehow in either sports, fitness, or health, and so that's kind of how I got involved in the whole thing, and I was fortunate enough to be able to play, like you said, at Washington State, and I learned a lot there too, and I was actually mentored by a very, very successful nutrition, health, and fitness coach, and Dr. Adams, and he taught me an awful lot too, and I was lucky enough to learn a lot from him, and I've just had a lot of great career. So I have a great career, and I've done a lot of good things in my career, and I just like helping people, and so that's what it's all about. Really, at the end of the day, I think is how you can help people, and most people really want to either feel better, look better, or act and be better. So I try to bring all three of those things together.
Well, you certainly have enough businesses to make that happen. It seems like you've got the whole circle. It comes full circle. You've got the health, fitness. You've got the nutritional, everything that's in there. So you said you played. What did you play?
I actually played basketball at Washington State.
That makes sense with your height. I didn't know, but I thought I'd ask. So do you have a favorite basketball team then?
Well, obviously I'm partial to Washington State, but I actually wanted to go to the University of Arizona. Unfortunately, I was not good enough to play. And when I talked to Lou, I wasn't good enough to play here at the University of Arizona.
Aww.
So I
couldn't be a Wildcat.
No, I couldn't be a Wildcat. So I decided to go to Washington State, and I played there, and we had some great players on that team.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, one of the icons of that team probably was a guy by the name of LeVar Ball. I don't know if most people know who that is or not.
I do not.
But he He was my roommate when on road trips. So he was a character to say the least. Safe to say
he knows a little bit about
you. Yeah, he's a character for sure. That's for sure. He's been on a bunch on ESPN lately.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Awesome. So all of your businesses or ventures focus on some aspect of health, nutrition, or fitness industry. But I want to focus on just one for a minute. JW Fitness and Consulting. Tell us a little bit about this business.
Yeah, we actually kind of try to help people with a lot of different aspects. We sit down with them. We do some goal planning. We actually talk to them about where they're at in their life and where they want to go. We sit down and we do a vision map for their life, and we kind of figure out what path is going to be best for them. And a lot of people are just kind of either trying to figure it out, or a lot of people know the end destination of where they want to go, but they don't understand the steps and the processes to get there. Because everything in life, just like in anything you do in life, there's steps and processes to get there. If I told you were going to drive from here to New York City, you would take some steps, like get a map, figure out directions, those types of things. So JW Consulting is an avenue for us to sit down with people and just kind of consult with them and help them figure out where they're at in their particular part of their life right now and where they want to go and the processes and the steps to get there.
Perfect. So is it like a personal trainer, a life coach?
Well, it's more of a life coach.
Okay.
I've been very fortunate and very blessed. It's also, I like to believe, it's a lot of leadership too. I studied under a guy by the name of John Maxwell, and so I've been fortunate enough to go to a bunch of his stuff and go to seminars and hearings and stuff with him. But and I've had Tom Thomas from the Cardinal Organization. I've had a lot of great mentors in my life, and so I think it's a combination of probably motivating and also life coaching, but also just basically figuring out a plan for your life.
Okay, so obviously we are in the new year. This time of year, we have so many people making resolutions to either, get in shape, quit smoking, eat better, get a healthier lifestyle. Like a new year, new you type scenario. What is your take on this?
Well, actually, yeah, I get asked that question an awful lot this time of year. Everybody comes in with New Year's resolutions, and they're like, "Hey, I want to go to the gym. I want to lose weight." And I tell them all about the same thing. I'm like, "Listen, there's a right way to do it. Obviously, going to the gym is very important. Doing the right things are really important. But there's willpower and there's habits. And most people that go to the gym and try to lose weight and do that type of stuff, go to the gym. They do 2 or 3 days, they get really sore, and then they're like, I can't do this anymore. So they base it on their willpower. And the problem with basing things on willpower is eventually it breaks down and you lose the process and you lose your focus and you can't find your way, and eventually you fall off track. And so what you have to be able to do is you have to make small minor adjustments, and you have to figure out a way to make it a habit. And once you can create a habit of doing something, then you'll stick with it. And then when you don't do something and you've been to the gym for 21, 28, 30, 40, 50 days in a row, then if you miss a day, then you're like feeling anxious, nervous, and that type of thing. So we call it, in our world, I call it habiting. And you want to sit down and you want to talk to people about how you figure out how to habit things. And one of the things that a lot of people come to me about also in the new year is time management. They're like, oh my gosh, I just don't have enough time. There's only 24 hours in a day, and I need to do this, this, and this. And one of the things I learned from one of the very successful people that runs major companies is they're like, every night before he goes to bed, he picks out his clothes and he says, you know what? I don't waste any time in the morning. I know what I'm going to wear. I don't spend any time. The average person, and this is a statistic for women more than men, but the average woman spends between 20 and 25 minutes trying to decide what they want to wear. So you pick it out the night before. You don't have to worry about it. You've had the thought process. Then in that morning, your mind is clear. You go in, you get your stuff, and you go to the gym, or you go to your workout, or you go to your work or your place of wherever you have to go that day. So it's all about setting parameters so you understand what you need to do in a timely manner.
It's funny you should say that, because I actually pick my clothes out the night before as well. But I still don't seem to have time throughout the day to do what I need to do. So where did that extra 20 or 30 minutes go? That's what I want to know.
Well,
and I'm not one of those people that take 30 minutes to get ready either. I literally very minimal makeup. I just throw my hair up and then I'm out the door. Well, I do have dogs and things to take care of in the morning, but I mean, that's just, I am one of those people. So
yeah, there's some tricks. That's just one of the tricks that we use in what we're trying to do when we sit down with people and try to help them. But there's multiple tricks throughout the day that you can do too as well that will help basically shorten the amount of time that you're wasting and that type of thing. I've actually created one of my goals this year, believe it or not, I call it fight to focus, and that's this year is going to be 2020 is fight to focus in 2020, meaning that what I really want to do is I want to focus my mind on the things that are important, because our mind has a tendency to wander, and so
all the time.
Yes. So what I'm really trying to do this year is I'm trying to focus more and more on the things that are important, and obviously you have to pick and choose what's important to you. Maybe it's your religion, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your kids, whatever it is, but you need to not let your mind drift and wander as much. And when you start to do that, you fight to focus it back on the things that are a priority in life. And that's what we really want to do with people is we want to figure out what their true priorities are, and then we really want to focus on those things, because what happens is we end up drifting a lot of times in life, and we end up falling off the path because we drift and our mind starts wandering. So you got to fight that tendency and bring it back and hone and focus in on what's important. And whether it's your family or your religion or whatever it is, you got to really fight to stay focused on those things. So my goal for 2020 is going to be to fight to focus on the things that are important in my life.
I like it. I do want to circle back to what we talked about, willpower versus habits, because this is probably where I see so many people. They're all gung-ho in that first few weeks, like, I'm going to lose 80 pounds this year, or I'm going to quit smoking. And many people make the resolutions, but after a few weeks, or sometimes in February, they go back to what I call their old habits. And you're talking about forming new habits. And this always seems to be the trend, people falling off the wagon. Is JW Fitness and the consulting able to help them stick to the resolutions?
Yes.
And how do you do that? What does that process look like?
Well, first of all, we sit down, like I said earlier, and we create a vision board of where they want to go and how they want to get there. And then with that becomes processes, and each process has steps to it. So it has a goal, and then it has action steps to that. So let's say you want to lose 10 pounds over the next 3 months or something like that. Mm-hmm. We would sit down and we say, okay, let's look at your diet, and we'll look at your diet. Not only do I believe, let's talk a little bit about diet. Actually, I'm going to get off topic here because this is one of the questions I get asked a lot is, okay, I don't want to eat any carbs. Everybody's like, oh, carbs are bad for me. Carbs are this, carbs are that, and everything else like that. And that's
yes and no. There's good carbs and there's bad carbs.
Exactly. And good carbs and bad carbs. There's also what I believe in is nutritional timing. And that's where when do you take your carbs? Obviously, if you're going to eat pasta, eating pasta at 10 or 11 o'clock at night is not going to be the greatest thing for your body because you don't have a chance to burn it off. Mm-hmm. Carbs are really good because they create energy for your body. Mm-hmm. So by creating energy for your body, you can go to the gym, you can create more lean muscle mass, you can work out. And by creating more lean muscle mass, you actually increase your metabolism. So by increasing your metabolism, you ever see that one person that can eat whatever they want and never gain any weight? And then there's the other person that eats, one thing and they gain 5 pounds. It's based on your metabolism speed. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to speed up your metabolism. And one of the ways to do that, there's a couple of different tricks to do that. Obviously, one of the tricks I tell some of my people is first thing you do in the morning is you get up and you drink about 16 to 20 ounces of water right off the bat. One, because your body's dehydrated and you've slept all night and you haven't put any water in it. And two, what that does is that kickstarts your body. So your body metabolism speed starts to come up. Plus, water is really good for your body. So that's one of the things you can do. But the other thing is back to nutritional timing is you want to make sure that you get your carbs in the morning and in the afternoon. So if you're going to eat that pasta, don't eat it at 10 o'clock at night. Eat it for lunch. Mm-hmm. And there's no problem because you're going to burn it off. But the other thing about that is it's going to give you more energy throughout the day. The people that go through the Atkins diet or whatever it is, and they don't eat any carbs and all those kinds of things, they walk through the day, they're sluggish throughout the whole day. They're like, oh my gosh, can't get anything done. Don't do that to yourself. Go ahead and eat your carbs, but just take them in the morning and throughout the day. And then after about 4 or 5 o'clock at night, go to your vegetables and your protein and those types of things. And that will really kind of get you the energy you need throughout the day, but it'll also help you on your fat loss and everything else that you need to as well. And I tell people all the time, remember, the weight doesn't come on overnight. The weight doesn't go off overnight. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh my gosh, 20 pounds. I gained 20 pounds last night. And I tell the client, I say, no, you did not gain 20 pounds last night. It was a process over a period of time. And so what we have to do is we have to actually think back to like the caveman days, back when all they really ate was meat and protein, and then they ate fruits and vegetables. And they didn't go out and they didn't eat processed food. And they didn't eat a lot of sugars. They didn't eat a lot of those types of things. So they were able to live very successfully with just basically killing animals and eating meat, and then also basically living off of fruits and vegetables that they had planted in their gardens and everything else like that. And we didn't have as many problems with cancer and obesity and all those types of things. Right. We run right now at a rate of about 18.8% of obesity in the U.S. And the problem is more and more kids nowadays are becoming obese because gaming is becoming such a popular thing. And so I'm a big advocate for just being able to get out and do something. I don't care if it's just play 60 minutes with your kids or go outside and play soccer, do some kind of sport, just go for a walk. But we've got to, I think it helps with our engagement with people too, is we don't have enough social engagement with people. But the second thing is, I think we need to be able to also encumber some kind of physical activity, because everybody's sitting around the TV nowadays or gaming or on their computer, and there's just, that's the way it becomes. So we sit down and we say, okay, we're not going to make major changes. We're just going to make some small minor changes that will make bigger results for you. And I tell people all the time, just like Jamie, if you're going to sprint the hill, and we take people to Tumaluck Hill sometimes, and we're like, okay, if you're going to sprint that hill because you think you're in great shape and everything, go for it. But what's going to happen is you're going to get part of the way up the hill and you're going to run out of gas because you just did it. So what you want to do is you want to be slow and steady. If you walk the hill, you sprint it and I'll pass you. I'm just going to walk slow and steady. And that's the same thing with when you set up New Year's resolutions, when you set up diets, when you set up any type of thing, it's slow and steady. And that was what wins the race, really.
Exactly. The rabbit versus the hare. So, that's great information. I love the vision board. It's very true about the metabolism, but I also think it's, portion can also play a big thing. You don't want to eat like the dinner portion of pasta at lunch because you can overload yourself on carbs too. So let's just call it that what it is. You eat the pasta, but make sure to do it to the point where it's in a moderation and not realistically trying to do everything. And at least that's me. I don't usually make New Year's resolutions because I know that just because it's the beginning of the year, it might not be a good timing for me because timing's there. I find that people stick to it if they're mentally prepared and they're like, you know what, I'm prepared to do this now, versus trying to say, okay, it's the beginning of the year, I'm just going to do it because everybody else is. I try to find, okay, am I mentally prepared to be able to, I don't know, lose 10 pounds now? Realistically, let me take a look at that. No, I don't really want to do that. I find myself trying to my mind's got to be set on something, and the switch isn't automatically just because of that. Do you find that as well, that maybe people are just trying to start this because it's a fad and they're not really prepared? And how do you help them become prepared?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, Jamie. I think obviously the new year, everybody thinks new you, new things, but you got to look at your life too, because obviously, there's certain things in life you can't control. So if the timing isn't right to start a diet, or if the timing isn't right to start working out, or if the timing isn't right to start a new job or a new career or a new you, then that doesn't work. That's why the vision board is so important. And that's why we sit down with people and we say, okay, what are your real priorities? You got to get to the core of who they are and what they want. That's the number one thing. And then you can say, okay, everything in life is a sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice time to be able to do this? Time away from your kids, or time away from this, or your job, or your work, or more time into your work to be successful, less time playing, less time gaming. It's all about sitting down and figuring out where they're at and where they want to go. But it's also about what sacrifices are you willing to make, because you still can't continue to do everything that you're doing. You're taking time away from one area of your life and you're applying it to another area of your life. So you have to be willing to understand that and commit to that and say, okay, hey, my health and fitness is a top priority. I am going to do that no matter what. I'm going to get 3 workouts in a week, or 5 workouts in, or whatever it is. And I'm going to take away from my
TV.
Big Brother time, or Bachelor last night, or anything like that. So, you're going to have to take something away. You can't do it all. You can't be everything to everybody. So you have to figure out what is, and that's where it comes down to the core of what they really want. And that's where we sit down with them and we say, okay, what is really the core of the things that you really want? Everybody wants the white picketed fence. Everybody wants the happy family. Everybody wants all these things, but are you willing to spend the time to make those things all happen. And nobody has enough time to make everything happen. And everybody thinks in this world too that they look at Instagram and Snapchat and they see, beautiful people on there. They see these wonderful things, and that's a 5-second blip of who they are. And everybody thinks their neighbors all having this great vacation and all these wonderful things. But you know what? Everybody struggles in this world, and everybody has heartaches, and everybody has tough times, and we all have to sit down and we have to work through that, and we have to figure out a plan to help those people, and that's what JW Consulting does. Is we just really just sit down with people and try to help them in where they're at and where they want to go.
Well, I really like that. I was never really a big fan of the vision board until you put it that way. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I might have to try that this year. Maybe in UI, I'll have to do a vision board.
Maybe you and I can sit down and do it.
Here's what I found. Yeah, here's what I found. I tried doing something. I tried to, family's really my big time that I've been trying to do. But here's the thing. I do have my shows too. So what I did, this is like kind of calling me out. It's all right. I said, I'll just DVR the things and watch them later at night.
Sure.
And then in the interim, I'm staying up later, and then I can't get up in the morning. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it's just a big cycle. You're right. You truly have to figure out what can you sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? So we've cut the cord. We don't really have cable at our house anymore, which is fine. We have the internet. So that's been trying to do something with there. So I like that.
Well,
what are you willing to sacrifice to make your dreams or what your goals are to come true?
Yeah. And it's funny. My preacher talked about this the other day, and he was talking about cleaning out his cupboards because he's like, I want to go on a diet, but yet he still wanted all the wonderful things that came with the holidays and the bun cake and the ice cream and all the wonderful meals and everything. And then he finally says, you know what? Only way to make it work is to completely clean out the cupboards of all the stuff. And that's what we have to do with people that we help too, is we have to sit down with them. We have to be honest with them, and we have to say, hey, you got to clean your cupboard out to make your life where you want it. Where you want to go is more important than the quick sacrifice, the quick indulgence of basically a chocolate cake right now.
See, my thought about that is, okay, that's just money wasted. I'm throwing out all of this food.
It is,
so
but it makes you think, and it makes you realize that, hey, I don't want to do that again. And sometimes that's more important. And I'm a big, I do watch one show. I watch The Prophet with Marcus Lamone, and he will do that with people sometimes. He will actually make them throw things away, and it's very painful. And that pain is what actually motivates you and drives you sometimes to make sure that you don't do it. So sometimes you have to go through heartache. I have a 16-year-old
in my house, so not having those things is kind of a little bit more difficult, because you want to talk about eating anything. This kid is like, can eat me out of house and home, and he's still a stick figure, but he's also very active. We keep our active family. We have an active lifestyle. But you
just have to sit down with him and say, hey, you know what? What are some of the things that you really like that are healthy that we can find, and let's eliminate the donuts and cookies and things.
We don't
let's
have
go to
any
fruits
donuts on our house.
And
I
fruits
should put
and
it
vegetables
that way.
And
I hand make our food. I do I hand make apple fritters for breakfast, handmade cinnamon rolls. Those are our special Sunday breakfasts.
I need to come over then.
Yeah.
That'll sound good.
We don't do, I don't like a lot of processed foods. I make breads. So those are some of the things that I do, but it's kind of hard to not have that, to have that simple indulgence every once in a while, because he is a kid, not going through life, not having any cake or anything like that is not any way for a 16-year-old to live.
No.
But you're right, there is balance. I need to figure that out. So what I really like about what you've done with all of your businesses, which is kind of unique, is that you can pretty much tie them together with different aspects. You've got your health and nutrition with Smoothie Factory. You've got your life coaching with JW Fitness Consulting. And then you have BUNZnGUNZ, which to me looks like more of like a workout type motivation, getting people active. And I love that, BUNZnGUNZ. So quite a unique name.
Yeah, it's a unique name. It's more for the hardcore person, probably.
I was looking at that on Facebook. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah. It's a little bit more for the hardcore person that really wants to kind of be out there and show themselves and everything. We have a company called SF Nation. It stands for Sports and Fitness Nation. It's basically a company of people coming together to help people within the sports and fitness world. So we get together and we just kind of sit down, and we're just a springboard for people. People want to know about new exercises or new activities or new things, and they'll call me and ask me about things. And we have apparel and stuff like that, but that's much more along the average mainstream America than the BUNZnGUNZ and things like that. So it's a little bit hardcore.
Oh my goodness. But I will say the things that they're doing, they've got a lot of motivational topics. They're talking about what they're doing. They gave some tips, about I remember there was some cooking sometime. There's a cooking tips. There's things what to
There's
do
all
there.
kinds of stuff in there.
A lot of different things versus just workout, which I
Yeah.
thought was, oh my goodness, that's great. And what's her name? Rachel? I can't remember.
There's a bunch of them
Yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, that's the good thing about it, and that's what, like I said, we like to tie everything together. And obviously your nutrition is just as important as your workouts, if not more important.
And that's where the consulting comes in.
People don't understand too, this time of year, rest is important too. I mean, everybody's go from the holidays, and sometimes your body needs rest too. And everybody's like, grind it. Like, I'm not going to let somebody outwork me. But your body, when you're trying to actually lose weight and you're trying to recover and recuperate, your body needs actually rest and recuperation time too as
100% agree.
And you need some different time and
listen to your body.
Yeah, listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs. And you need some social interaction time too. So it's great if you can find a workout buddy. If you can go to the gym with somebody, you can kill two birds with one stone. That's another way. Maybe you can go with your husband or your spouse or your wife or whoever it is, your friends, and you can visit, because I mean, lots of people like to chat rather than just go to coffee. Go to the gym and work out. And that's a way to kill two birds with one stone. You're getting your workout in, plus you're getting your socialization time with your friends in. So it's a good way to kind of maybe double dip it.
I like it. So we're talking about the consulting. So how much does, let's just say, an hour of consulting, or how does that work?
We sit down and figure out a plan for you is what we do. We don't place it on an hour. We sit down and we say, okay,
if it takes 2 hours.
If it's going to take 2 hours or 4 days, or we set you up on a plan, and it can be just a one-time consulting, or it can be over a week or 2 weeks or 6-week plan. It just kind of depends on what your needs are. So we sit down and tailor make it to you. So there's not a specific amount at like $50, $100 an hour or anything like that. It's more like, hey, these are the things I want to accomplish. And I say, okay, here's what it's going to take. It's going to take at least 1 or 2 consulting sessions with some time for us to do this. Or if you want it longer than that, we'll sit down and we'll do a 3-week, 4-week period where we'll sit down and we'll monitor you and talk to you every couple of days for a 3 or 4 week period, making sure you're staying on task, and we'll give you an assignment to do during that time. So we do different types of things, and there's different packages that they can sign up for. If they're interested, they can always come and get in touch with me through Smoothie Factory. I'm usually always there.
Perfect. So that is wonderful. I'm still not sure how you do it all. I personally think that you don't sleep. You're some sort of alien that just keeps going and going.
I've been
going.
lucky. I've been blessed. I have a lot of really good people in my life, and I think that's the most important thing, is you surround yourself with good people. And I think that's where it's really...
people that are better than you.
People that are better than me. Yeah, I have a lot of them.
Up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I 100% agree. You surround people that are either better than you or want to motivate you. You gotta... One of my big things that I had last year was trying to eliminate some of the negativity or some of my friends that were negative in the life. I don't need that, and I don't like drama. So that was kind of hard. That was probably one of the hardest things that I did. And just try to surround myself with people that are positive and that are supportive in what I do. Finding somebody like that, I think, is far more valuable than just saying, oh, I've got so many friends on social media that... that's just me.
I think people get caught up sometimes in quantity instead of quality. And it's always really what you do have to find is you're like the 5 most people that you hang out the most with. So think about the people that you hang around with the most. And if they're negative we call it energy suckers and energy givers. There's 2 types.
I love that one.
There's 2 types of people in the world. There's those people that you get around and, oh my gosh, you have a conversation and they've just totally drained your battery. They've just pulled everything out of you, and you're just like, now, sometimes you can't eliminate those people. That might be your mom. That might be your dad. That might be your husband, your boyfriend.
Mom, we're not talking to you if you're listening.
So
you're not an energy sucker. I love you. I love you.
But it is possible that those people are in your life. So what you have to do is you have to surround yourself with other people that are very, very positive to balance that out. You sometimes can't eliminate, if it's a spouse or a kid or somebody like that, you can't eliminate completely all the negative people in your life, because sometimes that's just, you're brought into it through blood and you can't do it. But you can find friends that are very positive. And energy givers are people that you just can't wait to get around. I have some people in my life that I get excited every time I talk to them. I can't wait to talk to them. I look forward to it. And the endorphin relief that happens when you get around those type of people just increases everything that you're all about. And it brings out the positivity in you too as well. So you got to find some energy givers and kind of try to eliminate some of the energy suckers in your life, is what we call it.
I like it. If you're just tuning in, you are listening to Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf and Farmers Insurance. It's where we focus on connecting our community and local businesses. As your local insurance professional, professional for personal and commercial lines insurance needs, as well as a small business owner, I know how important it is to make lasting connections right here in our own community. You never know how a connection will create a spark or pull you in a direction you never knew or were thinking of. If you're a small business owner or involved in a community project and you would like to be featured on this show, please feel free to give me a call. All of my information is on TucsonBusinessRadioX.com, and I would just love to hear from you. Today, we're talking to local business owner and fitness consultant / guru, John Wilfert, who owns several businesses here, including many of them in the fitness industry. We were just talking about getting healthy and staying healthy in the new year, energy suckers and energy givers, which I really love. Now, we were talking about Buns and Guns and how they keep you motivated on track and everything else. Let's just say I'm not ready to get into a whole new regimen. We're talking about tips and tricks. Give me 2 tips besides, you gave us one where that was get your clothes out and, the evening. What is another one throughout the day? Like, I find myself getting really tied in the afternoon. What are some things that we can do in the afternoon?
A lot of times I deal with a lot of the college kids because I have a store down there and everything else like that. So I'm constantly reminding them that to eliminate, don't get off of, but just eliminate or allow only 15-minute intervals of social media interaction time. Because what happens is it will eat you up. And so 10 minutes is ideal. Obviously, 5 to 10 minutes is ideal. I don't mind. Check your social media, stay on there. But what happens is don't get engaged in it so much that it just eats away an hour at a time, because there's no difference in an hour of social media. You don't get anything better out of that than 10 minutes of social media. So it's just a matter of prioritizing and saying, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it for this amount of time. And this is the time I'm allotting. So I'm going to get done as much as I can in that time. And I'm going to do that. And we're programmed to want to do social media. We're programmed to, if somebody texts us, we can't help but want to check our texting and everything else like that. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I won't check every 5 minutes my phone. I will check. Now, if I get a phone call, I'll take it. But if I won't check, I'll check every 20 to 30 minutes, I'll check my texting. But I'm not going to check it now and then you text me 2 minutes later and check it again, because you're not going to get your mind thought off and get involved, and you can't get deep thought into anything else. What's happening is your phone is controlling your life. And so what you've got to be able to do is you've got to have a cut of the tie. You got to cut the cord and you got to say, okay, 15 minutes of social interaction and social media, and then I'm gone and I focus and I fight to focus back on what's important.
Okay, I like it. What about maybe just stepping, because I know for me, let's talk me. I'm specifically in front of a computer pretty much all day because of my job and my profession. So I don't do social media, but I am on so much of the computer. What should somebody like me do in the afternoon?
A couple of tips for you, obviously, is even while you're sitting there at your computer, sometimes what the nice thing is, what you want to do is just roll your head and relax your shoulders and move a little bit, because you get into a tense situation and you become anxious and you get into one spot and you stay glued into that one spot. Your body wasn't designed for one particular spot all day long. So I recommend, now, some people can't do it. They can't get up and walk around every 30, 40, 50 minutes, hour. But if you can at least sit in your chair and move your shoulder around, move your head. I would move my head, but I wouldn't be able to talk into the mic. So move your head around, move your shoulders. Sometimes just taking your back and spinations and facing it so that you pull it in, push it out. Just different types of movements that you can do will help you. And then one of the things, the tricks that a lot of people do, especially when they're trying to relax before they go to bed, is tighten your toes for about 5 to 7 seconds as hard as you can, and then loosen it. Tighten it, loosen it, do that 3 or 4 times, and that will actually help you focus, and then you'll be able to tighten your toes. It also brings blood flow throughout the body too, so it's another thing that helps too.
I'll have to remember that one. So, all right. Well, we were talking earlier about cutting the carbs, like the famous keto diet that's going on, right? I have so many people that tell me, oh, I can't do smoothies because there's tons of carbs in the smoothies. Now, let me ask you this. I think that there's probably something that can, because you don't just do smoothies, you do
No,
juices,
we do
you do everything
juicing,
else.
we do, and we
So
have
how
and we
can
have
you
vegetable
incorporate-
have vegetable smoothies too as well. So there's not just fruit smoothies and things like that. And you do need a balance. You need a little bit of a balance of everything. And what we do not do unless you actually ask us for is we don't put any added sugar in there. Now there's sugar in the fruits and there's sugar in some of the vegetables and things like that, but we don't add any sugar, and that's what makes us slightly different than some of the other places in town.
A lot of places do add some
a
sugar
lot of places,
or some of that other stuff
and
to
we
make it
will
sweeter.
if you ask for it, but it's not in the original menu, and it's not on there. You can't ask for stevia, you can ask for turbinado, you can ask for regular sugar and that type of thing, and we do have it, but it's not made with that unless you specifically ask us for it, because I think natural sugar is obviously much better for you than processed sugar and all the other stuff.
I 100% agree.
I'm not saying you should eliminate. I try to eliminate as much sugar as possible out of my diet, and I try to also eliminate. I don't drink carbonation or anything like that too. Now, maybe a little bit of alcohol, but
not too much.
Not too much.
But I like the sparkling water, like the non-flavored, like not the sweetened sparkling water, but just like with a hint of lime or something. I do that because I have to have carbonation to help my stomach settle. But
and it's all about balance, and everything in life is about balance. So again, it's what are your priorities? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to just have that special treat once in a while? And eating healthy is you do need some cheat meals once in a while, and even your professional bodybuilders and fitness athletes and those people they always have to. You have to have that. You just have to plan around it. So if you're going to a Saturday night thing with your wife or your husband and you're going to eat bad, just plan that is going to be one of your cheat meals, and the rest of the meals try to stay on top of that week, and then you don't have to worry. Don't cheat throughout the week and then go, oh, okay, I got to go to this thing. Oh no, now I'm going to.
Now you cheated.
You have to just set a plan in place for making sure you're successful. It's just like anything. If I told you to drive from here to New York City, you'd say, okay, great, no problem. I'll pull a map out and do that. And as long as you have a map, you can get there. But I ask people, and what we actually help people with is we try to create a map for your life between now and when you want to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish. And it can be done just like a regular map. You can find anywhere you want to go in the U.S. if you have a map. We can help you find where you want to go as long as you know what you want and where you're at.
And there's so many different routes to go.
There's a lot of different routes, but it's about sitting down and figuring out a map for your life and what we call paving the way to success. Figure out a plan, know where you want to go, and figure out the steps on how to get there.
I like it. So obviously I do know smoothies can fit into some type of keto diet. So how do people are smoothies a viable option to help keep you on track for your healthy living and your goals?
Yes, they are. They're just like anything else. You don't want to overdo it or underdo it. You just a balance of everything. I'm not going to say this. I do recommend, here's the one thing I do recommend. So not 3
smoothies in a day?
No, I wouldn't.
Week.
Now, I tell you this. I do one smoothie every day and I do one juice every day, and then I eat my 4 meals. So that's for me. That's what works for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. But I do recommend this. The one time I actually recommend a smoothie over a meal. Now, I'm all about eating your fruits and vegetables, and meals are most important, but a lot of us don't have time to make 5 or 6 meals a day and prep all our food and everything else like that. So a smoothie is a viable option. Now, the only time I do recommend a smoothie over food is right after your workout to get the protein intake back into your body.
Because it goes quicker because it's already
and I recommend a whey protein because it's a faster absorbing protein than a casein. Like some people will take casein protein at night because it's slow acting, so it'll actually help, with the process at night. But that's the one time I actually will recommend a smoothie over regular food. Otherwise, I'm recommending regular food, even though I own a smoothie factory. I'm recommending regular food, fruits and vegetables, protein, that type of thing. But we just don't have time sometimes enough to be able to cook 5 or 6 meals a day. And people are like, well, I eat 1 meal a day. And that's the other thing about your metabolism. Let's talk a little bit about that because some people like to just eat one, and what happens is it's going to spike your glycogen levels and your insulin and everything else like that. And then you're going to feel sluggish. Do you ever get tryptamine is one of the things that turkey. So ever have a turkey Thanksgiving and then all of a sudden you eat all that turkey and you're super tired. You've eaten so much. Tryptamine is also in the turkey, so it also is a sleep component. And so you really just want to take a nap afterward. If you eat smaller meals more times a day, it continues to help speed up your metabolism.
Again, another tip.
Another trick that you can do, speed up the metabolism to help you. And again, it's all about trying to speed the metabolism up. Let the metabolism work for you and help you burn the calories off than trying to fight it all the time. And like I said, the faster you create your metabolism, the more lean muscle mass you create. The more lean muscle mass you create, the faster the metabolism, and it's just a cycle that goes on.
So on and so forth. Absolutely. Now we just need to find something that'll help me remember to eat.
That's the thing. I do sit down with some people and put a program in their phone every 3 to 4 hours. We have an alarm that goes off that says eat because they're so work prone, and that's what that's the problem is a lot of people are workaholics and they just are like, oh my gosh, and I'm the same problem. It got to
about 2 o'clock right before I was supposed to come here. I'm like, I haven't eaten.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden what happens is they wait until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. They haven't eaten all day, and then they're starving. And the other trick, here's another little trick, is you got to remember there's about a 20 to 30 minute window from your stomach understanding that you're full to your brain knowing that that's happened. So what happens is people add an extra 100 calories or so and eat because they're starving, and they don't realize that they're already full. And so it takes, because they're starving so much that they keep shoveling the food in. If they eat slower and they take time,
love the tips.
then that is another thing that will help you understand that you're starting to feel full, and you won't eat as much too, because you can end up putting in an additional 100, 200 calories in a meal if you still think you're full and you're really not.
Exactly. So we were talking about some things that made Smoothie Factory different from other, the other smoothie places out there. So what are some things, what sets you apart from your competitors? Why are you unique?
I think there's a couple things, and we call it Smoothie with a Smile, is what we call it. We first of all think that customer service is the number one thing. So when you come in there, we have trained our staff to ask questions and find out how to help you, and that's the number one thing, I think, in anything, and we're in the customer service business. So Smoothie with a Smile. Find out about the customer, find out what their needs are. We are unique in the fact that we do a lot of supplements. So we have vitamins and minerals and herbs and protein, and we have literally anything you can think of on our shelf. So we're a little bit like a GNC, although our prices are going to be way better and we're a little bit like a smoothie place, and we've kind of combined and we have the best of both worlds. And that's why we're also able to keep our prices low, and we're able to do some different things. But what I think separates us is, one, our staff is going to be caring and compassionate towards whatever your health and fitness goals are. Two, we're going to be able to provide you an excellent tasting nutritional smoothie that doesn't have a lot of sugars and everything else that everybody else puts in there. And then the third thing is, I think that we just care about people, and I think that really shows in our staff and everything else like that. I think we care and we want to be there to help people, and most of our staff is avid workout people, and so we have a lot of people that come in, and just beginners even, that come in and say, hey, what do I do about this, or what kind of workout do you do for this? And we'll sit down and we'll talk to them. We'll say, hey, here's some basic tips to, working out or diet or nutrition. We are not experts. We're not professionals. Not everybody on our staff is a professional or an expert, but they have a basic understanding, and they can help people, and they can guide you in the right direction.
And I highly recommend, if you've never gone into a smoothie place and you're just starting out, go to a Smoothie Factory. Your staff is phenomenal, and they are trained. And I remember the first time I walked in, because I didn't really do a lot of smoothies or juices, and I'm like, I'm lost. And I'm looking at the menu, and a lot of the stuff, the supplements that you were talking about, like the energy or things like that, aren't even on the menu. So when you're like, I feel sluggish right now, what do I need? They offer the suggestions. So I'm like, well, where is that on your menu? And they're like, oh, we're just here to help. And they were there to make everything great. Yeah. And it's wonderful.
And we have a lot of things that people probably like. Spirulina would be one of the things. Now, obviously, if you take spirulina, it's going to turn your smoothie green. But spirulina is a blue-green algae. It's actually what they give malnutrition countries, third world countries, when they're malnutrition. Wow. So it actually has, it's got over 100 organic nutrients in it.
What is that called?
It's called spirulina.
Spirulina.
Yeah,
like
spirulina. Now it's super green. It's super dense. It's one of the most densely populated nutritional things that you can actually take. We also have bee pollen. We have fiber. We have probiotics. We have, a lot of different, we have creatine, glutamine, all those different types of things. And people are like, well, I don't know what all that is, but just come in and ask us, and we're more than glad to help you. A lot of people come and see us when they're sick, and so we have immunities and vitamins A, E, and C and things like that.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah,
juicing
so
probably helps with that.
Juicing helps a lot with that too. And there's a little bit of a misnomer on juicing. Everybody thinks that juicing is going to be there to help you actually lose weight and things like that and everything. And it does a little bit, but that's not the real purpose of juicing. Juicing helps flush the toxins through your body, and that's important. It's just like working out. You need to sweat every day. You need to get the toxins out of your body, because that's actually what builds up in your body and causes you to get sick, or causes a lot of other problems.
Is that why you brought me that like green thing with it was like some cayenne pepper type thing that it got my sinuses open.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
We had a little bit of cayenne pepper in there and everything else like that. And another thing that people this time of year will probably try, and I'm going to tell you the taste is not that great, but wheatgrass. It has a ton of nutrients in it too.
I don't think I've tried that yet.
And it's you never had your brothers or sisters when you were growing up make you eat grass and everything. It tastes just like that.
No, my brother and I are 7 years apart.
So yeah, but there's a lot of different nutritional things, but some of them taste really good and some aren't. But it goes back to what do you want to accomplish with what you're putting in your body.
So there is something I do want to talk to you about, because I know you have a passion for making sure people get up and get active, especially our youth. You do a lot in our community for youth organizations and youth groups. Give us a little bit of example of how you can help the youth groups, or what you would like to accomplish with some of them.
Well, I'm a big proponent of just being active. Whatever it is, just get out and play. We did an initiative when I was actually working with the YMCA and the NFL of play 60 minutes, go out and play. And I think as a parent, one of the things that you can do is just be active with your kids. Be out there, be energetic. You don't have to be the best athlete. You don't have to you just have to care and be involved, and you just have to try to be active with your kids, or be active with your people that you hang out with, or anything like that. I'm just a big proponent. Yes, unfortunately, like I told you, obesity is very, very high, and it starts with children. And I think the problem is, one, they sit around too much and parents allow them to sit too much. But two, I think we also need to work with them on their diet and healthy choosing and choices of food selection too as well. And as a parent, you can do that too as well. But it all starts with the kids. Everything in life, if we want to change our society, we're going to change our kids, and that's where it's really going to start.
So we talked about some other, like you help with fundraisers too, correct, for your organization? How does that work?
We do a percentage night, and we also do a t-shirt program. Two of our better fundraisers. Percentage night is an organization comes to us and they say, hey, I want to raise some money, and we'll say, okay, we'll give you back a percentage of the profits, and then we'll help market it together, and we'll bring people in. That's and they get that. One of the things we've done this year is we partner with some of the youth programs and also schools, and we've done a t-shirt program for them. And the way it works is basically we partner with them, and they put their design on the front of the t-shirt. We put our design on the back of the t-shirt. The t-shirts run around $5 to $10. We split the cost on that, and then they go out and sell the t-shirts, and they collect 100% of the profits. So if they sell them for $25 and they sell 100 of them, then they have basically $2,500 there. And then what the good thing is every time that person wears that t-shirt and they come in our store, they get a discount. They either get $2 off, or they get $5 off, or they get half off, or whatever it is we've decided. And so that's an incentive for them to wear that t-shirt around the high school or around the junior high.
And then you get your name out there.
And we get our name out there. Exactly. And we split the cost on the shirts that way too. And so if they have to go out and buy a $8, $10 shirt, we're paying half of that cost. So we're paying half the cost, and then we also are giving them a percentage off. So there's an incentive for them to go out, and then when they buy the shirt, they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get a shirt, but I may wear this shirt 10, 20 times, and I may get $2 to $5 off every time I go in. So my value might be, an extra $20 to $50 for the year or whatever.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, if somebody wanted to start doing one of these with you, which organization should they
Smoothie Factory is the one we actually do that with. Yeah. So Smoothie Factory would be the organization. All they have to do is contact the store, call us, email us, anything like that.
And all of your information was on TucsonBusinessRadioX.com.
Yes.
So.
And my email is fitnessismylife365
of course it is. Fitnessismylife365
at yahoo.com. So it's pretty simple. If you need to get in touch with me, you can just email me through that, and we do that. So, and I don't think we've talked about this, but we also do some stuff in the housing world too as well, and fix up and flip, and I've been getting involved a little bit with with Airbnbs and some stuff like that too. So I've just enjoyed it. Tucson's been such a great community and great place.
It is such a wonderful
and there's so
community.
many wonderful people out there. And I got to tell you, Jamie, I appreciate you too, because you do a lot of things in this community, and you and I have partnered on some things. And I know we've worked some events at Meet Me at Maynard's, which is a great event for people to get involved with that want to be active and lots of great. It's a social intervention. You can walk, you can jog, or you can go to the social part that they have, and that's just a thing. And there's a lot of older seniors that take part in that, and I think that's just a wonderful thing for our community.
It's not just the youth that needs to get young and active. It is everyone, I think.
Everybody needs to be active.
It's just an awesome thing that you're doing. And you mean our youth today, you're correct. I think they're less active with all the gaming systems, the phones, the gadgets. They're just sitting on the couch, and it's so hard sometimes to pull them away and get away from their ramen noodles or whatever they're eating. I mean, I know this is a contributing factor in the obesity rate in our country. And I remember when I was younger, we used to go out and play like kick the can with the whole like neighborhood, right? So not only were we getting active like right before dusk, but we were getting, we were relating to each other. We weren't on the phone doing our LOLs. We had to actually sit there and look somebody in the eye. And I think that is missing in today's society. We need to get a great big game of kick the can going at some point and just make it happen. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you 100%. It's funny. I was, it was back in November, December, and I was in my store and I had two of my workers in there, and they were literally only 25 feet apart, but they were texting each other. And I'm like, you could just walk over there and talk to them. And they were just more about texting and everything than they were about. And I think we've lost that a little bit with our society. And it's great that we have social media. It's great that we have all these things. But again, sometimes it's a crutch. It's and we use it too much as a crutch. And what we need to do is we need to sit down and say, hey, we still need that interaction. Like one of the things that my parents did, my dad was phenomenal in a lot of things in the community. And one of the things that we always did every year is we always had a community party, and we lived in a cul-de-sac, and everybody in the community brought over some kind of a dish, and we all got to know our neighbors. We got to play with the other kids. Everybody knew everybody, and every parent knew every kid. And that way, if there was any problems, we knew what was going on in that neighborhood. And I think nowadays we've kind of lost touch of that. And I just think
it's completely the opposite. Yeah. So we used to open our doors way back when somebody knocked on the doors. We're like running up and saying, hey, come on in. Can I get you a drink? And now it's, oh my God, somebody's knocking on the door. Who is it? Let's peek outside. Do I open this door? Do I not open this door? It's just a completely different society. And I think at some point we need to, we need to invite our neighbors back in. We really do need to invite our neighbors, and Tucson's such a great community. We need to get to know our neighbors, and if I could take your apple fritter around to the new people in town, I could be best friends with everybody in town. But my cinnamon rolls are really, really good.
I bet those are die for too. So unfortunately, I haven't.
The Pillsbury.
Unfortunately, I have not tasted either one for all those people listening. But
well, you've had a couple of my dishes.
I've had your dishes, but not those two. Okay. So I guess I'm putting my plug in to see if I can get one or two of those.
Maybe at one of these Goldmaster meetings we can do that. So,
yes, we are both part of Goldmasters. Maybe true. Jamie, you can talk a little bit about how wonderful Goldmasters is and how it connects people in the community, business leaders, to opportunities.
That is actually one of the things I will be talking about on my next podcast. But at the same point, Goldmasters is a great place for businesses to come together and meet other business owners and help get active in the community and just make those connections. I think it's one of the many reasons that I'm out there doing a lot of the things that I'm doing, because I've met so many wonderful people from it. And we are looking for new business members if you'd like. So please contact me on Tucson Business Radio X. And we're coming to the end of the show. And here's one thing that I actually, not me personally that struggles with, but I have a friend that actually struggles with. She gets a lot of anxiety, not only to be a better self, but she gets peer pressure about belonging to a group or belonging to a gym, and that social interaction gives her anxiety. She doesn't like those groups. But I know that sometimes when you have somebody with you, it can be better. How do you maybe combat that with somebody that comes in and is like, I can't do this. It puts her into a cold sweat thinking about walking into a gym. No joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. And that's where your buddy comes into play, because if you have it's when you were a little kid, you had a security blanket or anything like that. Yeah. You have your favorite stuffed animal or something like that. That's where if you can bring your partner with you that you know and trust, and just kind of tell them, hey, I'm anxious about these things and I really am scared to do this. But hey, if somebody comes up and approaches us, can you kind of take the lead? And then that way it alleviates some of the anxiety. And that's what you really try to do. And that's also where maybe hiring a coach or a trainer or somebody to work with you when you go to the gym, they're there because now you don't have to feel awkward or uneasy about how to set the equipment up or how to do it.
That's
true. And a lot of people come in and they don't know how to move the pins in the equipment and they feel embarrassed or they don't want to ask and they're afraid, to ask somebody.
True.
So sometimes it's not a bad idea if you're starting out to hire a trainer, and a trainer can come in and they set the weight for you. They talk to you. They also ask you critical questions. Like if we were training you, do you have any heart problems? Do you have any problems? They ask you questions that, they want to know the answer to so they can help you down the path without letting you get hurt and that type of thing. So it's a good idea. Sometimes, like I said, when you're a little kid, you have a security blanket. It's not a bad idea to have a kind of a security blanket as another person will go with you and, make it fun. If you want to take your boyfriend or your girlfriend, sometimes I don't recommend that because what happens is there's a little more tension because sometimes you don't want to listen to your boyfriend or girlfriend or your husband or your wife as much as you might want to listen to just a complete stranger. A complete stranger sometimes is better to listen to, and you'll have more of you'll have a better opportunity.
It should be the opposite.
It should be, but that's not the way it is.
People are like, oh, that's a complete stranger. I'm going to believe them over someone you've known for 20 plus years. I don't get that sometimes, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but I see it all the time. And sometimes with the gym, it may not be the best opportunity to take your spouse or now, if you get along with them, great, and there's no problem, then great, do it. But if you're worried about that, then maybe that's where you hire a trainer or find a girlfriend or a boyfriend that you can take with you.
So just some tips that we had. Pick your clothes out in the beginning of, the night before. The night before. All right. Take some time, only limit your 15-minute intervals and not 15 minutes back to back for your electronics and social media. If you're in an industry where you're always having to, be on the computer, take some time to do some stretches or maybe just take a 15-minute walk around the office. Maybe that's what you do versus something I think is what we talked about.
One more thing we didn't talk about was breathing. There's another technique that you can use through breathing. If you have just a few seconds, you can breathe in through your nose for about a count of 3 or 4, hold it for a count of 3 or 4, and then breathe out your mouth. And that will actually help relieve some tension too as well. So we hadn't talked. There's some breathing techniques. We don't have time, I know, to go through all of them, but there's some breathing techniques you can do too that are really quick and simple and will take literally less than 15 to 20 seconds. And you can do those while you're sitting at your desk too as well.
Well, maybe I'll put some of those on the website for people to do so they can click. That would be great. That is all we have time here for Connecting Tucson with Jamie, presented by Farmers Insurance. If you like the show, let us know. Don't keep us a secret. You can get to know a little more about John and some techniques and how to reach him by going to TucsonBusinessRadioX.com and clicking on Connecting Tucson with Jamie. As always, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and make a new connection. Until next time, see you later, Tucson.